hey. Am I getting it?
Okay.
I'm trying to get that.
Yeah, you got the. There we go. Man.
Tiffany was the recent guest on the Godfrey, the 154 show. Let's get into it, man. They're gonna have a huge conversation. They're gonna prove my point for me.
It's so cool to have you here on 154.
So great.
Now, you did with some inside stuff. You was like, Haddish. Is it Haddish or Haddish?
It depends on where you from, who you are.
Okay, so Eritreans would say
Haddish.
Haddish. Oh,
that's right.
That sounds real, like, sexy. Like, I'm Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah. Haddish. It's about Haddish. Depends if you're like in the more northern part of Haddish, they put it like.
Oh, they put the, okay.
Because I knew her as Tiffany Haddish. I've known you for a long time.
A long time.
Over 2 decades.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm Tiffany Haddish. And I never really thought, it's not a Jackson, it's not a Smith, it's not a Jenkins, it's not a McCaffrey, it's not a whatever. I never thought about it. And then when she brought it up, I said, God, that makes sense now.
But I try to keep it simple for people.
Right, of course.
Just try to keep it simple. Especially back then, I was just like, just keep it simple. Don't be too complicated with people. Just let them get to know the basics.
Yes.
Right.
And then, then you open up for them.
Well, I'm Godfrey because they would screw up Danchima.
Yeah.
They'd be like, give it up for my man Godfrey. Godfrey.
Yeah, but I remember the first, I was like, what is your last name? And you was like, Danchima. And I was like, oh, Danchima. And you was like, you can say it?
Yeah.
I was like,
That really happened. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was like, boom, Danchima.
yeah. Now ask me to read something out loud.
Well, before we get in too deep, we wanted to really impress you.
Tiffany said she didn't tell people that she was Eritrean because she wanted to keep it simple. Yeah, don't need to know all that. Why not? Why not let people know that you West African? Your dad is whole West African. Why not? I'm trying to figure it out, man. Like, why not let people know that? I'm thinking maybe you wanted to assimilate with Black Americans. It must be an advantage to do that. Like, why would you do it? Let's keep going, John. This is going to get very interesting. By the way, good segment. Great segment. Great segment. Go watch it.
Running along, that is such a relief. And then we were going through like certain villages and there's like 8-year-olds being like shepherding the goats and the sheep and the cows and and I'm just like, look at that kid just like putting in the work and they look happy and they playing around the animals and playing with them.
That's
And
what
I'm
happens
like,
when you're not being hated.
Yeah, and there's also that connection too. Like there's a connection to your
nature,
to your nature, to your root. Your
Bare
father,
feet.
your father from Eritrea. Like, what did he teach you about your history? And
well, he told me a lot of stuff, but I thought he was lying the whole time. I ain't gonna lie I thought he was lying.
Like what?
Okay, so you got to remember, he was in my life till I was about 3, right? Then he was out of my life, and then he came back into my life when I was about 26, 27. So he's telling me all these stories, and just to me, it just seems like shenanigans. It doesn't seem real. Doesn't seem like that's possible. He's telling me about the war that happened for 30 years and why he ended up in America. He's telling me about his childhood and how he got to go to school in Germany and he got to do this because his mom and dad, they have money and all this stuff. I don't believe none of this. The number one threat to the American fabric is the black man's
black progress.
Black progress, collaboration. Our unity is a threat to some people.
They count on us staying divided. Because this is a guy, Dr. Henry Clark, famous black historian, said, we don't have friends in the world. Black people don't have friends. We have to count on ourselves. But they've made it to where we hate each other so much. Look what they've done with Africa. Africa is the only continent where, they had that meeting back in the
Berlin.
day.
Berlin.
Where you can't even go next door. But in Europe, you can travel by train anywhere. But we have to use a passport to get to the next, to our brother next door.
To climb over a mountain.
And they did it on purpose so we can have our own ideas. We can be separate from others. They did a good job on us. And with African Americans, with Caribbeans, colonialism.
Full of shit.
Yeah. Now, I want to be clear here, fam. It's not like the entire segment was bad. In fact, this was a very enlightening segment. This show, the entire show, I mean, it was amazing. I didn't know these things about Tiffany Haddish. Her life is very interesting, and she's very passionate as she discusses both her dad and her mom and the trials and tribulations and her comedy career and who she is and how she stays grounded in her own struggles and how she's been able to overcome those and different aspects. So if I want to make sure I make it clear. This was a dope ass segment. It is, and I think people should go watch it. But my issue is, my vantage point is always going to be to advocate for Black Americans. That's my goal. So when I look at it from that type of a lens, and when I hear I get the overarching feeling, this show is about Africa. The channel is about Africa. No problem with that. Godfrey, Tiffany, and Akbar, I have no problems talking about Africa and all of the continent of Africa and the interests of Africa and all these things and experiences. Yeah, but when we talk about Black Americans as being a unique people, why don't you want for us what we want for you, which you already have? Now, Eritrea, they only became like independent 1993. So, but you're your own people, and you're, very much a proud people, Tiffany Haddish. Why do you see Black Americans as saying, hey, we're a distinct group from Eritreans? Your dad was a distinct group from Black Americans, right? And that didn't make him a less of a person, that make him evil, bad guy. I just continue to get the hypocrisy of the African folks. They look down on what we're doing, which is all we're trying to do is embrace ourselves. You already do that. Nigerians already do that. Ghanaians already do that. Eritreans already do that. These other groups already are embracing themselves. And all we're saying, we've been here for hundreds of years. That's all we're trying to do is embrace ourselves and form a group that's more cohesive and make more demands upon our government. We ain't asking shit of your government to do for us. We have claims with our own government, and it seems like your own personal ambitions, your own personal self-centeredness in a country that you have been able to assimilate largely into the group. We got Godfrey, he didn't use his last name, so he could assimilate. We got Tiffany Haddish, who did the same thing, kept it on the low, Haddish, so that she could do the same thing. Meanwhile, what about Black Americans who are not getting these opportunities? You haven't been historically discriminated in this country. Your parents are not from this country. How could you be historically discriminated in this country if you're from another country? Tiffany has dual citizenship in Eritrea right now. I'm not knocking her for that. I respect the hell out of it. Enjoy you, do you. You don't need nobody's permission. Congratulations on getting more involved in your history and your legacy and your ancestry. Getting more in touch with your people's peoples. What if your people's peoples was all here, though? My people's peoples are right here. There's nothing wrong with Black Americans delineating. That's not, to me, the concept of foundational Black Americans does not negate anybody else's connection to the motherland or their motherland. This is just how we choose to form our collective so that we can bargain for what's tangible for us. The fact that people that obviously, later on in the segment, they're going to eat food together. They're going to have conversations about different cultural aspects of Africa, West Africa in particular, because that's where Tiffany's dad is from. That's where he is buried. She took him back there. I think she did. I don't know if she did. Maybe she bought the ashes. I don't know. I don't want. The point is this: these people are allowed to have their own heritage, and they don't shit on us. We don't shit on them for having their own heritage. It doesn't seem like we get the same level of respect when it's the other way around. And it doesn't seem that way because they don't give that to us. That's why it doesn't seem that way. Because I think it's obvious you have something to lose when we say you're not us. We have nothing to gain by saying we're you because we're not. And if we went to your country being who we are, we don't get accepted as you. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. Whether it's Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Africans, Caribbeans, they quickly tell you they're not black. And when you go to their countries, I'm pretty sure they tell you, you know them. You this thing, whatever they call that. And let's face it, Johnson, real talk, black Americans are really in no position to deny Africans, Caribbeans, Latinos, anything in this country that they want. Nothing. We can't stop you from doing a damn thing in this country. All you're complaining about is online conversation because we don't control enough in any industry to say, whoa, mofo, you can't come in. There was nothing that is ours that we can keep from you. We don't have the control of the resources. So how could you ever beef with us about fucking comment sections on X or on Facebook? When in reality, the resources, the opportunities are not ours to dish out anyway. And you already know this, man. All right, let's keep going, Johnson. It's been my experience, and this is anecdotal, but I'm going to still put it out there. In my experience, there have been more black Americans looking out for Africans, Caribbeans, and Latinos than it's been the other way around. Because when they get an opportunity, they help the people from their country. They help the people from their ancestry. We are the ones who, for whatever reason, have this thing where we got to help everybody. Problem is, everybody don't feel like that about us. You know it, Godfrey. Akbar, you know it. Tiffany, you fucking know it. We're going to grow up and be real or not. Let's keep going. I got another example. Let's extend this. I was watching this show on Netflix. It's called Next Gen Chef. In an elimination type competition, you know what I'm saying? It started off with like 20-something different chefs. They're supposed to be chefs that are already award-winning, high accomplished chefs. I mean, just amazing. When I look at the cast of this show, it's white, Latino, Asian, and black. Just at a glance, you see the people that appear black-facing somewhat, but only one of these people is black American. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only one of the 4 melanin, high melanin content people in this show are black American. The other 3 are from different countries in Africa and the Caribbean. The brother up top is Nigerian. The woman on the lower row on the right is Ghanaian, and there's another woman. She's from somewhere in the islands. Haiti, I think it is. One of them is Haiti. One is Haitian. The one on the right is Haitian at the bottom, and I don't know where the other one is from, but it's not American. When I watched them on the show, I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't care where they came from. But it's not like I ever looked at them as being black American. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, once the brother starts talking, I mean, you could tell he wasn't from like America, like his roots, his ancestral immigration roots, his immigrant roots are very evident. Whenever I'm watching a show like this and I see black people that are black but not black Americans. They may be African Americans, they may be Caribbean Americans, Haitian Americans, Nigerian Americans, Eritrean Americans, whatever they are. But I never looked at them as bad. They're just not the same. When I saw Lupita Nyong'o, 12 years a slave and all this other stuff and them or us or she's so many different things. Lupita, amazing Lupita. Obviously from Africa, right? I never looked at her and said, oh, she's not black American, screw her. Horrible, horrible. No, she's a talented sister that just isn't black American. See, they're trying to, I understand that you want to discredit Tariq Nasheed and you got problems with him and, and all this stuff. I get it. It seems petty as hell. And FBA is just what we are. It's just a name for black Americans. Foundational Black Americans is just a way to look at that group of people. I think the hate is getting in the way because, hey fam, before Tariq Nasheed and before Foundational Black Americans was a thing, Lupita Nyong'o was still not a black American. Now we're saying that she ain't black, she's not a foundational black American. She was never a black American. And you know who knew that more than anybody else? Lupita. The brother that played Amistad, you know who knew he wasn't black American before there was ADOS and Yvette Carnell and Tone Talks? Him. You know who knows he's not black American? Before there was Phil Scott with the African Diaspora Channel, or before Tim Black started talking about it, or before anybody, Afro Elite, anybody else started talking about it, Damson Idris Elba, they all knew they weren't black American. You just upset that we're saying it. We already knew it. It's not a secret. But here's the problem. White people don't always know, and sometimes they do know, sometimes they don't know, but they use you to discriminate against us. They don't use us to discriminate against you. And as long as that is the situation, because see, you don't have an affinity for us because we're not your people. You may rock with us, you may like our music, you may like our style, but you ain't connected to us, and you know it, and we know it, they know it. So when it's time to solidify, when it's time to stand up, when it's time to go to war, when it's time to sue, when it's time to get paid right, when it's time for whatever it is, not all. We don't play in absolutes. Not absolutes. But not all, not everyone will be willing to take less money to negotiate, to fight for people that are not their people when they come from a group of people who are not there with them right now at that place. And I'm not talking about Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish did something amazing. She got to deal with Netflix. You know what she did? So let's make sure y'all know I'm not talking about Tiffany. Tiffany took less money to hire other people to do a show with her on Netflix and give them a portion of the money. Now, Godfrey ain't a black American, but he was able to get paid to do this. I don't know. Maybe there was I think Tony Woods is a black brother. But what Tiffany did is rare. She talks about it in this show, and Godfrey talk about it. I just want to be clear here, man. This ain't about, hey, this is about reality. Back to the show, back to the Next Gen cooking show. There's 21 slots. 4 of them look like they were occupied by black people, and they are. But only one of them is black American. And it's a black show. No, I'm sorry. And it's a U.S.-based show. Now, there are 10 slots by white people, and all the white people are white Americans. Get it? Get it? Does it make sense? Now, I know you don't care if you're from the group of people that benefited. But see, my job is to be focused, man. My job is to be focused on Black Americans, to be selfishly focused on Black American issues. The same way LGBTQ is focused on Black American issues. And this is why I got a problem with Roland and Tiffany. These people want to kumbaya. Fine, go do that. Everybody's doing that. We need people that have the guts, like Dr. Claude Anderson, to focus on Black American issues. We're catching the most tail and have been doing so for the longest. I don't have to explain it to you. There was 21 slots in this show. 4 of the slots went to Black-looking people, but only one of those Black-looking people were Black American. And that's the problem. Of course, you're going to say, go after the power structure. I would tell you the same thing. Stop fighting back against us delineating and go after the power structure. Why aren't you doing that? Why are you fighting back against us? I never thought Lupita Nyong'o was Black, and it ain't Tariq's fault. He ain't to blame that we know she African. Stop acting like it is. Any other time you proud as hell being who you are, and you should be. Stop acting like this movement, I'm going to ride with any type of way that empowers Black Americans. That's what I'm going to do. Don't mean it's perfect. Don't mean that everybody who says they FBA has it right or saying exactly the same things I would want them to say, and that we're going to articulate it exactly the same. But we're going to stand on business, and I hope they are. And all I can do is stand on business for myself. And I'm saying it's not about hating other groups. It's about demanding that Black Americans are respected and are given what we are due. Africans, whether they be from West Africa, South Africa, wherever, Caribbean, they weren't promised 40 acres and a mule to begin with. Okay.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.